Lovely to see you all. So, welcome to our November plenary meeting, and a huge thanks to the one and only, our fellow Cyrus Todiwala.
He fell into it, yeah? Anyway, chef, you're getting old now, yeah?
I am. I'm aging very gracefully. Thank you also to our associate members, Aubrey Allen, Bread Factory, Flying Fish Seafood, and Woods Food Service for sponsoring and supplying all the ingredients for the lunch today. Now, I would like to introduce you to Cyrus himself, who's going to say a few words.
What?
Thank you.
That was very quick. Sorry, it's the biscuit. No, I'm fine with water, chef. I've got a nice glass of tea there. Yeah. So thanks everybody for coming. And like I said before, welcome to our new home. I know a few people dropped off, but that's good. We still had a nice crowd today. Many of you must have known about our old place, but we opened this restaurant towards the end of Jan this year. And yes, it's been a bit of a struggle because it's a new location. Developing new clientele, new people is not so easy, but we're actually getting there. And it's great to have so many of you in our midst today. So if you all want to have a look later, up above is the academy. So people like Andy, of course, John himself has done a few classes in the old academy. But do feel free to walk. We have a second floor above where we have a prep kitchen. So if you want to saunter upstairs and have a look at the view from there, please do feel free. The place is actually fantastic in terms of its location. What pleases me today is, of course, that we are talking about a very old, charity that I'm very much involved in. Gregg's here, Yvonne is there. So I am, as it stands for my sins, the national ambassador for the clinic. And with Gregg now, hopefully, we are rekindling the ambassador program. So we'll be approaching some of our chefs from the industry to help us to lift the profile of the clinic and hopefully do more events with the clinic so we can not just raise money for the charity, but also to help our industry get some much needed people that do need a break in life. Yeah. So, but simultaneously, I said Daniel told me if you should talk about Zest Quest Asia, so I'll just talk a little bit. So we launched a competition about 9 years ago called Zest Quest Asia. Michael's team has been winner twice. Yeah, they've been winners twice actually, the UWL team. The whole idea of the competition was to encourage young British budding chefs to look at Asian cuisine as a first choice career. The bald gentleman sitting right across from me, called Bob, knows about our old school.
Absolutely.
Which unfortunately we had to fold up because the Learning and Skills Council didn't support us, but at that time they didn't think anything of our industry. I am hoping now that they think a little bit more about our industry and we keep pushing and pressing hard so that hospitality gets to be favored. One day or another it will happen. So Zest Quest Asia, it's a tough competition, very, very rigid. I hope some of you can come for our dinner, which is on the 17th of Feb next year at the Hilton Terminal 5. And we always hold it there. The winning team, of course, we take them to Asia for 10 days. And we give them a complete experience of wherever we go. So I'm always begging, as soon as the competition is finished, the begging bowl goes out to all the sponsors. And we need the money to not just run the competition, but for other things as well. So far, teams have been to Sri Lanka, they've been to India, they've been to Thailand, they've been to Vietnam, they've been to Japan. And this year's winning team is coming with us to Manila, as did Mike's last winning team. And because it's been sponsored by Don Papa Rum. And they're going to have a fantastic experience. The reason why we are going is we always conduct wherever we go a charity dinner for a local charity, which only teaches hospitality free to young children. So Zest Quest Asia, now coming into its 10th year, has become the most highly contested inter-college competition. This year, for the first time, we had some surplus. So we did, a few years ago, formed a thing called the Todiwala Foundation. The whole aim was that we have a surplus and we can help poor children to educate themselves. So this year we have given money to 7 different colleges. Yesterday being Colchester, he needed money to train the team for the competition. Ian had no money, so he sent him money. And I've just had an email from Mr. O'Keefe from Scotland. And David needs some money. So hopefully we have some surplus from our sponsorship and then we send the money to the college so they can. So that's the whole reason, idea behind the competition. It needs to go wider, of course. It needs to get wider support. We of course need industry support, but that's where we are. So it's Zest Quest Asia, the Clink is here. Cafe Spice Namaste, of course, needs to be back to its original self. It's not going to be easy, but we are going to work hard towards it. But the best thing is, it's lovely to have my industry people here. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Cyrus. And now I'd like to introduce Yvonne Thomas, CEO, and Gregg Brown, Director of Training and Operations from the Clink.
Good to see you all. Where do I start after Cyrus told me good questions? I read this week about an industry icon award. I think you were given this week, which deserves recognition.
It's a very embarrassing award called Industry Legend.
Industry legend.
Very embarrassing. But if you want to see the awards out in the lobby there. So it's a bit embarrassing. It was presented in the House of Commons.
Yes, go on.
And I didn't go. I woosed. I ran. We sent Gina instead.
No, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
This is fantastic. Listen, good to have time with you this afternoon. Yvonne and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Clink. Many of you have known me for many years. I've had different heads, be it teaching, education up at UWL, various jobs over the years within the corporate world and the less corporate world. But today I wanted to just explain a bit more about the Clink and perhaps offer you the chance of talking to us more about potential opportunities for those from our side of the business into yours. So we have a charity, and Yvonne will explain much more about this, the history, where we are now, where we're going. But certainly from a chef perspective, there's a lot of opportunity for our graduates to come into industry. We know we're suffering from a skills shortage. In some cases, services are closed because we simply don't have the people to service that part of the day. But we have a huge number of people being put through training, currently across about 32, 33 locations across England and Wales. Fingers crossed, we'll be invited into Scotland and Ireland over the coming years, but at the moment we've got enough on our plates. We're going through a transition now. We've been running for about 12 years. We have different parts of our charity, different parts of our business. We're now looking at the next stage of growth because that's where we need to be. The audience isn't getting smaller. Our audience is growing, sadly. Prisons are being built. Thousands and thousands of people are going into prison, and we want to do a little bit to make a difference to a number that we can get into industry and play their part and turn their lives around ultimately. Give them a second chance, give them an opportunity in our wonderful hospitality industry. So it's a little bit of an overview, a few minutes to explain how the process works and whether you think you might be in a position to talk with us more about engaging with us in taking people into your different businesses around the southeast, southwest, around the country for those who are national brands. So, Yvonne, would you like to come up and sort of take it to the next stage?
Could you?
Yeah?
You could do.
We'll
Thank you very much. Lovely to meet you all, and lovely to be here. And
Want a mic?
particularly lovely.
No,
I think we've got quite a loud. It's particularly appropriate that we are here because Cyrus has been such a great supporter of what we do in the club, and we knew you were a legend, and politicians can tell us you're a legend. So he's been absolutely wonderful to voice that for us. So I just wanted to sort of say just spend about 5-6 minutes just talking about where we're up to as a charity, because you've always been very supportive, and many of the organisations here have been very supportive of what we do. And I think the last few weeks, Gregg, we've been reflecting quite hard about, you know, where we're up to, what's the charity for, are we doing a good job, all of those good things. And I joined the clinic at the end of January this year. And I joined it from a background of having a passion for rehabilitation of offenders, and also I had a training background, so I was bringing those two things together. And you know, you look back 12 years, and the whole clink concept 12 years ago was a complete revolution. And for those of you who've never been to a clink restaurant, the first thing I'd say is, why not? And the second thing I'd say is genuinely revolutionary. That 12 years ago, virtually no training of any sort in prisons, and here was the whole concept that the public would go in and they would be served with really, really good food, served to a good standard, all prepared by serving prisoners. And it's still a fairly revolutionary concept. But the world's changed. The world's changed a lot. So 12 years ago, loads of people in prison wanted to train with us because there was nothing else for them to do. And so we got a lot of really talented people who are now running their own businesses or working in some really very, very good establishments. And we find ourselves 12 years on. And back then, we used to have to beg employers to give our people a trial. And now, employers are begging us, the graduates, because there are no staff out there and ours are well trained. But we haven't got enough graduates because now in prisons you can get your construction card, you can train with rail track, you can go and learn how to make pies with bread, you can do all of those things. And actually the reputation that training to be a chef has, or training to be front of house, is that it's really hard work and it pays nothing. So we've got quite a big job to do to help educate people who could make really, really good students for us. That actually this is not just a job, it's a profession. It's not like getting your construction card, because when you're 45 you won't be able to work on the building site, by the way. This is something that you can really build on. It's quite hard work, and that I didn't really expect, and it's quite difficult when you're engaging with people and there's, you know, we're saying to employers, well, we really do want employers on board because everyone's got to help. But we're actually in a war for talent within prisons, which is not something I quite expected, actually. But I guess it's not very different from the rest of the jobs market out there, is it? We're all competing. Well, prisons are no different now. So, you know, it's a really interesting context. So what we want to do, Gregg's project is great, because it was the first attempt for the Clink charity to try and help as many people in prison as we possibly can by scaling, and that's not an easy thing to do. We couldn't open 20 restaurants because, of course, you just can't. Having fours back in them, you know, that's quite challenging, isn't it? Well, it is for me. I'm an accidental restaurateur, of course. But we have 30 odd prison kitchens. We're trying to train people in those, and we're struggling to get the right prisons. You know, 30% of our workforce disappears about every 3 months because they get transferred to another prison because they've done something wrong. Another 30% disappears because they're released and nobody told us they were going to be. So, you know, you're losing 60% of your workforce every few weeks anyway. Quite interesting.
You're granting us the today.
So, you know, the two things that are on our minds at the moment are, no surprise here, we're a charity, money, but the second one is relevance. How do we, you know, on the money side, the pandemic, charities, a lot of charities, including ours, were given quite a lot of money to keep us afloat by foundations. Well, we can't have that money again, that's all gone. So it kept a number of charities going, but that's all gone. So money's in quite short supply because those foundations advanced granted about 3 years worth of money to an awful lot of places. Then the second thing that happened, of course, was Ukraine. So a massive amount of aid, money and foundation charity funding has gone quite rightly to Ukraine. It's going to famine in Africa, and we haven't had that combination of things before. So actually UK-based mainstream charities, we're quite pressed, is all I'll say, we're quite pressed. So money is quite interesting. And we have 40 professional chef trainers and front of house trainers. As of today we trained about 250 people. We train about 250, 260 every single day. We were reckoning on our call this morning, we reckon we will serve about 4,000 people during the month of December. That's between our events business and our restaurants. So it costs us £2.3 million a year just for the payroll. You know, this is an expensive thing to do, rehabilitate people through hospitality, but it's also incredibly effective. So everyone leaving prison, if they get a job, they're much less likely to reoffend. Unfortunately, the people who leave prison every year, there's about 88,000 people in prison, so you're 20,000 coming out every year, and of them, 16%, 16% get a job. People coming out of the programme, 72% have got a job so far this year and kept it. Now that's why I'm going to say to all of you, basically give us loads of money, because we're preventing future victims. Every single prison place costs us as taxpayers £43,000 a year. That's £88,000. 88,000 people in prison who do the maths. Do we as taxpayers really want to be doing that? I don't think so. Yes. Just £1 billion quid a year plus. So there's an economic argument to stop reoffending. The biggest argument for me is that it prevents future victims. So we want to carry on doing what we're doing. So relevance really does come into it. We've got to be appealing to particularly young men in prison. We've got to be able to make it an attractive career for young men. Young women are slightly different, but it's the young guys, isn't it?
And we teach both, it's not just
men
and women.
Absolutely. But those young guys find it more attractive to actually go on a construction site because it's more macho and it's less hard work and it pays more. But it really doesn't. And I'd ask all of you actually portraying the career aspect of what you all do in your different ways. It's really important to people like us who want to train, want to attract people into the profession. So we've also got to be relevant in terms of keeping our qualifications current and reviewed. I mean, we did the whole range of City and Guilds MBQ level 1s and 2s in various disciplines, but we're also now looking at potentially shorter courses for young people who work out in our events business, have never been in prison, and don't want them to go into prison. So shorter courses that will hold their attention. We've just added patisserie qualifications into our portfolio because we have opened a bakery and patisserie in Brixton Prison, which is our first one, so that's quite exciting. But we've got to constantly review what we're doing, and this is taxing. So, future the clinic. My job is to make the charity sustainable, keep it relevant, and keep us reducing reoffending, so keep us on mission. And to do that, we have to become slightly more commercial, so we want to extend our events business. We have a very nice events business that is a subsidiary of the charity, turns over about £1.2, £1.3 million, runs entirely out of Downview Women's Prison in Surrey, and services the Guildhall, Trinity House, A-list venues in the city. Well, actually, we could do more of that because we always have a wait list. So that's a big thing. Get more people trained and employ more people in the events business. And then really it's a case of battering down the doors of government to give us contracts to actually deliver qualifications, because most of the stuff we deliver they don't pay us for. good people like you raise money. Philanthropic foundations give us money. The whole of Gregg's Kitchens programme is funded for 3 years, or more than 3 years now, by the Hans and Julia Rousing Foundation. Government's not paying a penny piece for it. So we have to persuade them.
They like to share the wealth of success.
Oh, they like to claim our success, but they don't pay for it. So we have to get them to pay for things, because we are training the workforce, but saving a lot of money, and that's quite challenging too. So really, that's the thing. That's where we're up to. So if you see any opportunity whatsoever to eat with us, buy things from us, book an event with us, or just give us loads of money, please do, because we do need it, and we're trying to do some good things. Thank you for having us.
Gregg, you were nervous about following. Firstly, I'm now following, having already followed Cyrus, I'm now following you and now following Yvonne. But an extraordinarily inspiring sort of picture you're painting for us. And I give a strong recommend for anyone to go there. It's definitely worth it. There was extraordinary insight into the workings of Bristol. Fantastic lunch. I went to Bristol not so long ago. What's that? 6 months? Commuted to lunch. As you'll hear, it's been a very busy year for the Academy. So after COVID, the lockdowns, the end of furlough and so on, despite our small team, we feel that we're packing the punch above our weight, and we're looking forward very much to progressing, growing from strength to strength in 2023. We've been doing a lot of work in the background, things you probably haven't been too aware of, bringing the office administration into the 21st century, doing our best to turn it into a paperless, digitised office and so on, and making things run a bit smoother. As well as using Square, which you may have seen earlier on today, which offers an online platform for sales, and we've used it for our events so far. That's kind of helping smooth things out a bit and making things a bit quicker. I'm also pleased to introduce a new member of staff. So if you look over there, a bit of a wave for you, perhaps, Catherine. So Catherine Lee has just joined us, and she fulfills the role that some of you will know before, that Rosanna Frost fulfilled. So a huge amount of administration, hard work, and attention to detail, thank goodness, is what Catherine is all about at the moment. So you'll probably, members, you'll be dealing with her quite a bit. You'll be seeing quite a lot of her emails flying about the place. So welcome, Catherine. It's encouraging that we have also numerous enthusiastic academician and associate members under consideration. So it's always a good vote of confidence that we've got more people trying to get in, more people being recommended, more people on the pathway, hopefully to becoming an academician or associate or even a friend. That's very good news. And also 8 new MCAs, which is fantastic. And what they've achieved has been quite extraordinary, with all the challenges they have in the modern era. And they automatically qualify as academicians too. So we also have, which John will go into more detail later, the new alumni network, which will give us a broader foundation at a junior level to the Academy, and hopefully will protect our pipeline of talent. And the team are working hard in pursuit of our mission to educate and train young people. So I'm going to go through all the mission here just to make sure we get refocused on it. To educate and train young people to recognise and reward talent, to raise standards of food, cooking, sustainability, critically, and service, and much as we are today, connecting all of those who share the Academy's ethos. And now over to you, John, maybe for some more detail.
Thank you. So, as you'll all be aware, this year we've had double the awards, with the Annual Awards of Excellence finishing back in July, and the MCA, which has just been completed back in the 28th of October at Claridge's. As a reminder, the Annual Awards had 11 servers, 3 pastry, and 8 chefs achieve the award. They've all subsequently been invited to join the newest membership group, the alumni network, which I will go into very shortly. At Claridge's, we covered the title of Master of Culinary Arts to Jamie Houghton, Senior Sous Chef, Le Manoir au Quatre Saisons, Alistair Burt, Senior Head Pastry Chef at Harrods. Thomas Borghi, Restaurant Manager at the Lanesborough in London. Antonino Forte, Restaurant Manager at Galvin at Windows. David Isabella, Food and Beverage Director at the Goring. Daniel Crump, Proprietor and Director at the Greyhound in Beaconsfield. And finally the chefs, and they were George Blogg, Executive Head Chef at Grey Tie Manor, and Spencer Metzger, Head Chef at the Ritz in London. Thank you to all the chairmen and judges who give up their time and expertise and make it all happen. As we're all sponsors, as well as our sponsors, University of West London, Aubrey Allen, Berkman Wine Cellars, Champagne Laurent Perrier, Lunaco Cafe Musetti, Ritter Corrivord, Willie's Cacao, and Winter Holter were the main sponsors there. I think one of the things that we have to do now more than ever, and I would like to do it before things settle with the MCAs, we have to make something of this award of being an MCA, and I'm going to challenge them for sure, and not in a bad way, but in the best way possible, to really come together as a brotherhood and to evolve the MCA even more. And that should come from all aspects, and that's how we will actually make it grow and become stronger and better and develop the training for which we really, really need. In these times, we're going to be needing to train harder, better than ever before. So that's one thing that I would really like to get moving. Going on to the alumni network, as I touched upon earlier, we've also launched our latest membership category, the Alumni Network, which focuses specifically on our incredibly hard-working RACA apprentices and incredible annual awards of excellence achievers. We held our launch event at the Berkeley for 100 of our alumni. The first networking drinks will be held at the Goring on 28th of October, and we'll give them a chance to meet their fellow members. We are subsequently putting on an exciting calendar of events for them throughout 2023, such as a cocktail masterclass at the Connaught, Moet Chandon champagne tasting masterclass in March, Academy of Cheese masterclass in June, William Curley MCA chocolatier masterclass in September, H. Foreman and Son site visit November, and others to follow, as well as limited free tickets to our other Royal Academy members events. If you feel that you could support our newest members in any way, such as though offering site visits, masterclasses, hosting drinks and meetups, or anything else that springs to mind, then please get in touch with Daniel. I think even on these things, it's so important that we bring this together. We go from a doctor's school into a situation of apprentices for developing people in our industry, whether it's service, pastry or chefs. It's so important that that natural progression is, and I think it will help the Academy strengthen itself and grow with much stronger roots. So, on to the doctor's school, and please may I ask Helena from a doctor's school to say a few words, please, Helena. Thank you.
Just a quick update from a doctor's school, so the Academy's food education charity. So following on from the 300 food education sessions delivered to over 10,000 children between January and July, this new academic year is proving to be even more successful. Thanks to team of regional chefs has grown this year from 3 to 5 to meet the demand of our waiting list of schools across the country. As well as our regional chef team, we'd like to thank RACA members and the wider hospitality industry for their continued commitment to Adopt a School. Since September, we've received support from the teams at CH&Co, Lexington Catering, Waterside Inn, Baxter Story, Harrison's Catering, Quorn Foods, Marriott Hotels, The Vineyard, Gravetime Manor, House of Commons, the Delaunay, Seven and Wye Smokery, the Pig Group, the Royal Household, Ritz London, and many more have expressed interest in our training. Beyond the classroom, we continue to deliver our hugely popular Chef on the Farm sessions. We continue our work with hospital schools at Evelina Hospital School, Great Ormond Street and Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. And over the summer, our Adopt a School team were involved with the Department of Education's Holiday Activities and Food Programme, delivering cookery sessions at holiday and youth clubs in disadvantaged areas of Sussex, Liverpool and London. In October, after lots of delays due to COVID, thanks to funding from Erasmus+, we finally sent 15 students from Hugh Baird College in Liverpool to Salerno, Italy for 3 weeks catering and hospitality work experience. In November, we will also be sending 20 students from Middlesbrough College and Coleg Cambria to Salerno, and we'll be sending students to France and Spain next year from St Helens and Wirral College. We also continue to work with other like-minded organisations to campaign for better food education and a clear pathway for the industry, into the industry for all, attending meetings of the National Skills Academy for Food and Drink, all-party parliamentary groups on school food and on food and health, amongst others. Looking ahead, we have 2 fundraising events coming up. So this is our begging bowl bit, sorry. The first at Westminster Kingsway College on Thursday, 9th of February, thanks to Mark Whitley, with Tom Kerridge, Sean Watling, James Golding and Sarah Franklin cooking with third-year students from the college. Simon Gerling at the Ritz will be supporting the students with the service. The second event is our flagship Take-Free Colleges dinner on Friday the 19th of May with thanks to Matthew Marshall at the RAC, with students from our RACA partner colleges cooking alongside Jeremy Ford MCA, Andre Garrett MCA and Adam Smith MCA. This dinner's meant to showcase the best of the academy, the apprenticeships, Adopt a School and also the MCA, obviously recently happened. So huge thanks to everyone supporting these dinners in any way. So we're really looking forward to a positive 2023, and I'd just like to thank everybody for their continued support.
Thank you, Helena. Now, quickly on to sustainability. In keeping with today's theme, we remain proud of our sustainability philosophy, the 6 pillars, which we hope that you're all using in your kitchens, your business, and with your staff. This document is a privilege of membership and a huge tool to help us all along our journey to be more sustainable. This, alongside the online hub, should answer a lot of questions and concerns you may have about best practice and how to do better. So please use it, and if you have got any questions, do get in touch with the office as well. Now, you don't want to hear me any more times. The chef patron of Le Manoir of 4 Saisons. Please, sir, the stage is yours.
First, like all of you, I would like to thank our chef Cyrus and his wife, of course, Perline. And I smiled because about Perline, because we did the show together just a month ago. I was very much involved with a beautiful, very young Indian girl called Perline. Okay, and actually, she did marry me because that one day I cook a meal, and among that meal I created a beautiful mango chopped into a sphere of thin caramel and lime leaves and herbs, and I put sticky rice in the middle of it, and I put a beautiful mango which was so perfectly cut, imagine, and a mango lychee juice around. But the grandmother didn't like the mango, so I couldn't marry. So I share that with you. But thank you for your team very much, Cyrus, for all what you're doing for many, many charities. Sustainability. I don't know, I'm a mother's boy, and in many ways my parents and my working class parents gave me so much, because we had a huge garden, okay, very huge, and that garden would feed the family for about 70-80% of the time. So these values have stayed with me. That love, food is an act of love, and of course, food is about respect as well. So depuis my mum gave me all these values which I try to bring and translate in a manoir 4 saisons, first les 4 saisons, which was a tiny little restaurant which gained 2 stars in 3 years, and I never could before. Then I tried to translate these values in a manoir. Then I was a lot more lucky, and most of you must envy me a lot, because obviously when you have a 27-acre garden, you can grow a lot of vegetables. Okay, so in that way, you must have, and of course, I am to be envied. I am so lucky, and I remember too well when I bought this house, okay, which I had no money at all whatsoever. You may ask me where you get it from. I didn't steal it, for sure. But basically, I just fell in love with this place, and when you fall in love, that's it. And I remember too, nothing to do with sustainability, but I remember when I saw this picture, imagine I'm a young chef, totally self-taught, I saw that picture of this beautiful house on a Sunday morning, a naked young chef, working 16, 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I see that manoir, and I just completely fell in love with it. I took my car, drove to Great Milton, asked to whom the manoir belonged to. I knocked at that door. It was Sunday morning, 10:30. I knocked harder because nobody answered. Okay, and suddenly this lady arrived, opened the door, who I thought to be the cleaner, and I talked to Lady Cromwell. And she said to me, but I am Lady Cromwell. So it was a very, very bad start. And she asked me, what do you want, gentlemen? I said, I want to buy your house. So she didn't make any sense. And she came back to me and said, but who are you? Oh, my name is Raymond Blanc. And she flashed all her colors, and she ran in the pantry, and I could hear some tea making action, and she arrived with a tray, with a bottle of milk, with a tea on top of it, you know, the mags with the tea bags inside. And I said, of course. She said, no, of course, I'm going to sell you my. It's crazy, and it's absolutely true to the word. Of course, I will sell you my. I come back to sustainability later. And of course, no I'm telling you that story, but I just feel like it feels the right moment to break down a little bit all these very beautiful but hard stories of what we heard today. And she said, of course, I sell you my house. 3 reasons. I came to your place. There was such a beautiful energy in your place. I was with my family, my 2 daughters, and my husband, and it was a very special moment. It's a long time I've not seen them, and it was glorious. Very special. The food was very good, and your team was amazing. They gave us so much happiness. That's what we like to hear as restaurateurs, of course, as chefs. Then the second reason, my husband died a month after. It was your place was the last place where we were together as a family. Actually, she killed the horse because her husband died of a horse riding accident, so she killed the horse. So she was not very popular. Anyway, sorry, I don't do that in England. They eat it in England. And then the third reason, the most important one, if I don't sell you my house today, okay, it will be separated in apartments. And that will kill me. I own this house with my families and my previous families for 150 years, and that will kill me. That will be, so all these reasons, yes, I will support you. So I was so happy. Imagine you just come on a Sunday morning, you have a tiny little place, half of his kitchen or quarter of his kitchen actually, where we started as a self-taught chef, and then you suddenly have a deal in your hands. So the morning after, I phoned the bank and I said, "Sir, I'm going to buy Great Milton Manor House." And it was his long, interminable silence. He said to me, "With what?" Well, you may laugh, but I was not laughing because actually, you know, it was a time of 70s, 80s, 90s, the recession, we had recession after recession. As a young restaurateur who started, of course, every bit of penny would go into a glass, into a new tablecloth, etc., etc. That's how it started. You know, you have to start somewhere. And I'd already sorted out what he said with what. I said, "Sir, I'm worth 21%, 51% of anything I buy." And then there was another silence. Oh, it might work. And then, so effectively what happened is something really extraordinary. A good angel, sometimes a bad one. We all lived. We all have these terrible encounters. Sometimes a good angel lift comes here, and the other one, a nasty one, comes there. But today, on that day, a good one came on my shoulder. Because in the name of Margaret Thatcher, St. Judas is not really renowned to be a good angel, but on that day she was. She was because she created on that very day, because England was in total decay. There was no jobs, there was strikes everywhere. One day it didn't have electricity, the next day it didn't have any gas. It was terrible, really. So she did create a business expansion scheme, which gives people rich like you, Richard, okay? Every pound you invest is tax-free. And at the time, people were paying 70, 80% tax. So effectively, to reinvent the countries, to build back a surge of creativity, build back new business, etc. And it happened, okay? And all my customers, of course, I knew them all by their names, their dogs, their daughter, their children. So they all became my investors. So that's how the Manoir was born. And when that lady Cromwell showed me the Manoir, it was a beautiful place, but it looked like a bit haunted because it had not been invested for dozens of years. Because of course you have to pay gardeners, you have to pay chefs, etc. And we all know that English aristocracy at the time was very poor. There was no money. And I remember particularly the garden. The garden was a jungle, a huge garden, immense, but full of brambles, full of weeds and and rabbits jumping everywhere. So I said it's a little bit too much for me. So I brought my papa to clean up that garden, and it took him 3 months, okay, to clean up the garden, and another month to put the manure in and to start the first season. So my values, yes, are about naturally, I would say, are very much part of sustainability. And what is sustainability? There's got many facets, you all know it. But at first it comes with caring for something. Okay? And I think it's crucial to respect something. You know, when you see a young chef, doing a beetroot and just or a potato, not washing it before starting, or removing 3/4 of the peels, it hurts you. I know where I come from that working class background, and I try to bring these values of care, these values of respect of the food we do, and train my young people to really understand where the food comes from, what's in it. And the first thing I did, and that's a shame that today Monsieur Peter Allen is not here, because Peter came my little restaurant, 4 Saisons. He started OBE Allen, as you know, and we all love him. We all love him and his family so much. It's an amazing family. And he came my tiny little 4 Saisons. I was a very, very young chef. And he arrived in my kitchen, "Chef, I had the best steak in my life. How did you do it?" And I said to him, "But okay, thank you very much. It's a very kind compliment. What do you do in your life?" I'm a butcher. I say, exactly, you're a butcher. You all British butchers, you murder food twice. And I gave him a good one for his money. Okay, you don't know how to hang the food, you don't know which bits you should hang it, which bit to cook, rare or medium rare or slow cook. You have no idea. You are butcher, but I can help you. And I send him to France, and you can learn your craft. And he went to France and he learned his craft, and he came back and became one of the 10 greatest butchers in Great Britain. Well, so, to glass of water, please. So, I think to Peter. I don't know if you know him, but to our wonderful Peter Allen. So, it's first surrounding yourself with a great team. You need a great team. Initially, I was small, so effectively there was no HR department, and it's easier for us now because we have an HR department on sustainability, but at the time I didn't have that. So it's really sourcing first your best suppliers. Suppliers who care, who are artisans. Suppliers who truly are totally involved in every single element of freshness, of quality, where does it come from, our sustainabilities, and surrounding yourself with the best, whether it is, for example, last night we were together.
Last week.
Same time. Last already.
Yeah.
We were at MCS, Marine Conservation Stewardship, and they did the good fish guide. So that now about every chef are using, and this kind of tool really help us to be responsible. In the past, those tools didn't exist. Now they do. It's really exciting, and they exist for the consumer. So I think we have no reason not to be aware. No, there's no reason basically to take a turbot, which has been caught with a drifting nets. It's over. We all know. We should all care. So effectively, Manoir is all led on these sustainability issues for many, many years. The first thing I did was to do a card like that. If it's a lamb, okay, name of the owner, his telephone number, his mobile number, day and night, okay. Then you would have the breed, then you would have, is it Highland or Lowland, what kind of antibiotics has it got. I knew everything by that lamb, which was the best possible training tool for my team. The best training. It took time. They didn't like, my chef grumbled, everyone grumbled around me, but I knew where I was going. And and it's recorded. If that guy lied, he would be in big trouble. Okay? So it's recorded. You have something which is recorded. And that I have that now for every single food we have. Apart from my garden, because I know where the food comes from, and it's been always organic, okay, and there's never been a single chemical at Le Manoir whatsoever. So it's really, and that single tool, and it's so easy because that's what you do, and then the farmer or the fisherman or whoever just fills it up. As simple as that. So, and that is a fantastic training tool for your young team. Teach you about seasonality, and seasonality, that's the first thing I teach them, because that's what my mom told me the first. Because if it's seasonal, it's close to home. If it's close to home, better taste, texture, colors, nutrients. If it's close to home, you help your farmer keep his farm. You have your village keeping his post office, keeping his little pub. You don't import food from billions of miles away. That means when you import food from billions of miles away, there's 3 forms of pollution. The pollution of growing it, because heavily grown with huge amount of chemicals, pesticide, fungicide, fertilizers, herbicides, the whole lot, copper and the whole lot, and much more. Okay, so then that's the first form of pollution. That goes in the water, that goes in the air, that goes in the sea. Then the second form of pollution, of course, when you fly it, or you bring it, you transport it for hundreds of miles away. And then the third form of, you have to clean up the pollution, which costs money. So really, when we think about it, And the advantage of seasonality, to wait for these winter strawberries, which taste absolutely of nothing, to have it, to wait for it. And for me, in life, the greatest pleasure of life, of a special moment, is to say, oh, I'm going to meet that special friend. I'm going to eat in that special restaurant. I'm going to eat my first strawberry. Okay? And that first strawberry, and of course when you wait, and it's seasonal, on the first June strawberries arrive in England, although the French arrive in February. Okay, Gariguette strawberries. So then you have a glut of it. So when you have a glut of it as a chef, what does it mean? Less expensive. Better flavor, better taste, better texture, color, nutrients, and it's less expensive. And you win all of the way. So effectively, to me, seasonality means that it makes such, and I still don't understand, that what we have created, we all know, a society which is, I want now. A society which buy from the outside. Nobody cares about inside, but it's changing. It is really changing. And if we talk today about luxury, we are talking about today whether it is in our restaurants or whether it's that lovely jackets, where is it made and where does it come from. Okay, that lovely silk tie. Okay, we want to know what's in it, and that's what is changing. And I think that's exciting, and that the whole luxury business, whether it is Mercedes, for example, Mercedes now are able to, well, besides the electric cars they use now, are able to recycle 95% of the components, whereas the year before, out. It was a culture of waste, a culture of carelessness. And of course, in our restaurants, we were also guilty. But that is changing, and I really believe that the next, because now there's a mega investment, we're talking about trillions of pounds, done by huge companies, by governments and all. And what we are seeing today is irreversible. So I think sustainability in all aspects, not just food, is, and maybe I'm a dreamer, but I really believe that's happening, because every brand of quality will never want to say, my carbon footprint is so much, my pollution level is so much, etc., etc. It's irreversible. Now we have to change. And we are changing, and it's exciting. The second part, I would like to talk about sustainability, and it's only a few minutes. We look for staff, so short of staff. Sure, with the pandemic, the post-pandemic, Brexit, 250,000 European chefs and hotel businessmen away, and there's a mega loss. But I think, to me, where the problem comes from us as a business, comes from me, comes from all of us, who for hundreds of years have not changed our industry. We just let it, it was easy, you had the chefs, there were a pool of chefs, you know, and you would use them, dispose of them, you didn't need them, and that was an easy commodity. And we didn't care. We didn't pay them badly, we didn't train them, we didn't love them. And that we all were responsible for that. You may say, okay, that was the time, and I know, I remember working my 16, 17 hours clock, so it was my team, but that has changed. And now we have to change. We have to change our industry. We have to stop these double shifts. That's cruel. Imagine a young chap or young lady coming at 7 o'clock, getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, for work at 9. From 9 to 6 hours, have a 3-hour breaks for what? What are you going to do with those 3 hours? And then you have another 6 hours before and finish at 12 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night. It's not sustainable, and that's what we need to change. Yes, France has practiced the 35 hours a week for the last 30 years, and many of you should say 30 years too early. It's right. But England is still on 48 hours, and still, up to even 4 years ago, 48 hours okay, you would sign a piece of paper, okay, and you work 70 hours a week. That's over, finished, game over. And I think now we need to revisit our businesses, and it's going to be a difficult change. It will involve probably the guests paying twice more, but we have to change. And I think now it's up to us. I started a long time ago, about 7 years ago now. I will say that within 2 years' time, a year and a half, I was talking to John a month ago, a year and a half, don't want to commit too much, but a year and a half to 2 years, all my team will be on 40, 44 hours a week. And I'm proud of that. Will I be less? No, I will be more. Because what I will give to these kids and to this industry, every parent will want to send their kids to our industry. Because our industry is no less than extraordinary. We deal with garden, with soil, with environment, with science, with nutrition. We deal with food, we deal with people. We give love to people, we give a special moment in their life. We are working, we're working with HR, PR, marketing, maintenance people. Imagine without a single degree, 0 degree, you could be him. And I know, he just said a moment ago, what did you just say? You were?
No degree.
A legend, you see, a legend. But you wait until you are in the Hall of Fame, okay? They give you the ugliest sculpture for it. But it's in our heart. It doesn't matter because it's our. So I really believe that sustainability goes beyond food. It's how we treat people, what industry we're creating. And I think all of us are in agreement that we have to change. And I know all businesses are different when you deal with luxury, a 2-star Michelin, the beautiful grounds and so on, and a beautiful bistro or brasserie or fast food, all has these differences, but I think it's possible. And the next thing we need to do is really together as an industry to really work together, because we don't. We separated millions of segments, and whether you are, a fast food business or a 3-star Michelin restaurant, there are many points, okay, which we could work together, and I think it's possible. I really think it's possible. Anyway, thank you very much to have listened to me.
Waited 18 years for to get him up and do a little talk. He did one about 12 years ago, I'm telling fibs, but the passion, the understanding of his craft, the way that he is, the love for the game, and really about education. He's the most sustainable thing that we've actually got. And honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, last but not least, I just want to say once again thank you to Cyrus and Pervin for allowing us, for being here today. And the next date and venue for our next meeting is in January, which is going to be confirmed, and it's at Liscao. Okay, boys and girls?
Oh yes, Liscao, definitely.
Okay then. Well, all that remains, I know it's always early and it sounds terrible for to say, all that remains for me to say is have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.